Okay, YouTube viewers and subscribers, what I have here is my completely disassembled F-120-SF engine, and these parts are basically all cleaned up and nearly ready to go. All I need to do is order some parts. Let's start first with just kind of showing this crankcase. Now this sat in my LA's Totally Awesome ultrasonic tank for 3 cycles. I didn't do anything else in here. I still had the crankshaft and stuff in there at that time. I just got the crankshaft and bearings out. But this engine, or this case, looks pretty good, so I'm really not going to mess around with too much more on that. Here's my crankshaft. It looks pretty darn nice. Don't see any issues with that. Now I did have one other major issue disassembling this engine, the last thing, which was trying to get this little Woodruff key out. It was just like welded in there, and finally I took it into work and had a buddy of mine who's a technician just beat the crap out of it, and I let him deal with it. I didn't feel like messing with it. Now we did have to redress this key up quite a bit because it kind of got banged up. And if you're curious, I know I mentioned in a post on RC Groups that I hoped an OS 4-stroke Woodruff key would fit. It won't. These keys are flat. They're not oval like the OS keys are. So this would be a specialty item. That's why I didn't dispose of it. It's dressed up a little bit. I think it'll do what it needs to do there. So as long as I don't lose that thing now. Here's my piston. If you recall, when this first came out, it was pretty dark. This just went into the LA's Totally Awesome cleaner in the ultrasonic bath, and this is how it came out. So it looks pretty good, although I do see some strange marks on the top of it. I can kind of feel them with my thumbnail, but I don't know. They're not in the same area, so I don't know what the heck that is. Here's the connecting rod and wrist pin. Nice good action on that now. I need to get new wrist pin retainers. I gotta order parts tonight. This is the carb body. I haven't done anything with removing this gasket. I'm gonna order a gasket kit. I was kind of contemplating maybe just throwing it back together with this gasket in place because it's not broken or damaged, but between now and the time parts get here, I'll probably end up throwing this in the ultrasonic cleaner, and or just maybe soaking this part, lay it down in some LA's Totally Awesome cleaner, because that'll take this gasket off. This back plate with the disc, what is this called? The disc vane, I guess. Rotates fine. I'm not that familiar with YS engines, but this seems fine. I don't see an issue with that really at all, so I'm not going to do anything else with it. It too has its gasket on there still. Again, it doesn't feel like it's wanting to come off, so I don't know. Those things I'm going to kind of think on. And here's the timing gear. Looks very much just like an OS timing gear because it's basically from the same type of design of an engine. Here's the things that I thought weren't present. These are the cam followers that I thought weren't in the engine. Now if you look, I stand one up, if you can see, they're actually really hollow. They're only solid down probably about the last, I don't know, maybe 1/16 of an inch or so. I haven't measured them. But that's why when they were in the crankcase, they were so hard to see, because they're not solid with just a dimple in the middle like most others I've seen. I think I've seen another engine that had hollow ones like this, but I can't recall what it was off the top of my head. Anyway, these were so stuck in this crankshaft, I basically used some 2000 grit sandpaper with some oil soaked, and just kind of dress these up. Now these slide in there real good. Here's the timing case cover and bearing. I'm not going to be replacing that bearing. It feels fine to me. Here's the head. Now I never did actually pull this pin off. I guess I don't really see a need to do that. It was never moved. I don't really see a need in pulling it off, so I didn't. So here is, I think you saw what it looked like, or I posted some pictures of what it looked like before. This is after. These pictures didn't, or this was only done in 3 cycles, for 3 cycles, and I think Jim, in his thread, he did his for like 10. So maybe I could have got this a little bit cleaner if I did some more cycles in the ultrasonic cleaner, but I really don't need to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. This will work fine just the way it is, so that's the way it's going to be, especially since the rest of the outside of the engine is kind of modeled, and I don't know if it's pitted, but it's modeled, and it's never going to look perfect again anyway, so why in the heck should the inside look perfect when it's fine? Here's the valves. Now they're pretty nice. Now the exhaust valve did have, some pretty heavy buildup on the stem, and that was in the cleaner, or in the bath. Most of that came off, and what didn't come off, I just got a razor blade and just kind of went around it, just shaved it all off and got that all cleaned up. So these valves are nice. Rocker arms, same deal. They were in the bath. They look good. There's really nothing else here of note. Let me zoom in here real quick. Let's see if this thing will want to focus on. This is a regulator housing. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. There you go. So there's that regulator housing. I'm probably going to go ahead and soak this some more in Totally Awesome Cleaner. Not a ultrasonic bath, just soak it so I can get a cotton swab down in there and just kind of clean that up some more. This really isn't in too bad a shape. Now this little plunger assembly, there's the silicon portion of it. Let me try and get... I don't know what this is made of. It looks like copper. It felt like it was all rusted. It had a lot of black stuff on it. It looked like a black rusty part. It's not magnetic. So what I did with this was I actually put it in a little bit of CLR, some calcium lime rust remover, and let it sit in there for about 30 seconds, and I pulled it out, wiped it down, sprayed it with alcohol, and oiled it, and now it looks copper. So I don't know if it's supposed to be copper or what, but I'm going to be ordering a plunger and a diaphragm. So I don't know if the plunger I order is just this thing, or if this little metal part comes with it too. And then of course here's the plug or the regulator screw with the O-ring on it. I'm going to be getting an O-ring kit. So that's just a kind of a quickie look at these cleaned up parts. It's basically ready to reassemble. It's just now a matter of getting the parts on hand to do so.